So take a look at Exeter. At first glance, it seems like a classic, picture-perfect English city, right? Charming streets, a huge, gorgeous cathedral. But for a place that's been around for 2,000 years, you just know that what you see on the surface is only the very beginning of the story. So what is going on here? What's hiding just beneath those charming streets? Well, that's what we're about to find out. Think of Exeter like a giant historical cake. It's all about the layers, and we're going to explore them all, one by one, from the grand and obvious all the way down to its secret ancient foundations.
All right, so where do we even begin? Well, you have to start with the big one, the most obvious, jaw-droppingly beautiful layer that just dominates the entire skyline. I am, of course, talking about the magnificent Exeter Cathedral.
This place is just incredible. I mean, it was finished way back in the year 1400. And that ceiling? Get this. It is the longest uninterrupted stone vault in all of England. Just imagine the engineering that went into that. It also has a super cool 15th century astronomical clock that still works. But honestly, my favorite detail has to be the medieval cat flap. Yes, you heard me right. They literally cut a hole in a door for the resident cat, who was paid a salary to keep mice away from the clock's machinery. Okay, so the cathedral is the amazing top layer. But what if the next layer wasn't just a figure of speech? What if it was, quite literally, right under our feet? Let's peel back the pavement and uncover Exeter's most unique and hidden feature. Now, when you hear underground passages, you're probably thinking of dungeons or secret escape tunnels, right? Nope, not here. These are Exeter's underground passages, and their purpose was, frankly, pure medieval genius. They were built simply to house and protect the lead pipes that brought fresh, clean water into the city. I mean, talk about advanced city planning for the time. And we're not just talking about some short little tunnel here. There are over 400 meters of these cramped atmospheric passages still down there. And the wildest part? It's the only system of its kind in all of Britain that you can actually go down and explore. Walking through them gives you this visceral sense of what medieval city life was really like. But the story of these tunnels just keeps going, and it gets even wilder. Fast forward hundreds of years to World War II. During the Blitz, people used them as air raid shelters. And believe it or not, they even became a makeshift maternity ward. Think about that for a second. Babies being born deep underground while bombs were falling on the city above. This ancient layer got a whole new, dramatic chapter written into its history. So we've gone from the cathedral down into the medieval passages. But guess what? We're still not at the bottom. To find Exeter's real, true origins, we have to keep digging, way past the medieval world, all the way down to the very foundations of the city. Okay, so long before England was even, England, and before Exeter was called Exeter, it was a major Roman fortress in town. They called it Isca Dumnoniorum. We are talking nearly 2,000 years ago. This is where the entire story of this city really kicks off. Just look at how deep these roots go. The Romans show up in AD 55 and build a fortress. Around AD 200, they build the city walls. And get this, about 70% of those original Roman walls are still standing today. How cool is that? Then you jump forward to the Saxons, and the city becomes this major cultural hub. It's where the incredibly important Exeter book was written. And then bam, 1068, William the Conqueror rolls in, lays siege to the city, and builds a castle just to make sure everyone knows who's in charge. So we've looked at the stone, the tunnels, the ancient foundations, but history isn't just about buildings, right? It's really about people. It's about the stories, the legends, and the strange and wonderful things they did. So this next layer, this one is all about the human stories written on the city. Okay, I absolutely love this next story. It tells you everything you need to know about how Exeter feels about its past. So picture this. It's the 1960s, a new road is being planned, but there's a problem. A beautiful historic building is right in the way. Now, most places would just tear it down, right? Not Exeter. They did something pretty extraordinary. They decided to move it, the entire building, and it became known, quite perfectly, as the house that moved. And this wasn't some little shed. We're talking about a 14th century merchant's house that weighed 21 tons. They literally jacked the whole thing up, put it on a frame with wheels, and slowly, very slowly, rolled it 70 meters to its new home. A truly remarkable way to preserve history. But, not every layer of history is so charming. Exeter also holds this darker distinction. It was the site of some of England's very first recorded witch executions. And then centuries later, in 1682, it was also the site of the very last executions for witchcraft in the entire country. A pretty grim claim to fame. Yet, it's amazing how out of all that deep, complex, sometimes dark history, this incredibly vibrant and creative city has emerged. I mean, J.K. Rowling studied here, and it's widely rumored that a little lane called Gandy Street was her inspiration for Diagon Alley. Chris Martin from Coldplay, born here. Tom York from Radiohead, went to university here. Even Charles Dickens was a frequent visitor, drawing inspiration from the city's character.
So when you put it all together, you realize Exeter is a palimpsest. It's an old word for a manuscript page that's been written on, scraped off, and then written on again. But you can still see the faint traces of the old text underneath. That's Exeter. You've got the Grand Cathedral on top, the medieval passages just below, the Roman walls holding it all up, and all these complex human stories of preservation, darkness, and creativity written right over everything. Nothing is ever truly erased.
And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What's just beneath the surface where you live? How many hidden layers does your own city have, just waiting to be discovered, if you only know where to look?